Have you ever done everything right, only to watch someone less honest, less hardworking, steal your prize? You were the most competent person on the project, but the promotion went to the one who knew how to flatter the boss.
Likewise.
You were the most caring partner in a relationship, but you were left for someone more exciting and selfish. You lent money to a friend in trouble, and you never saw them again. Every time it feels like a betrayal, as if the universe itself is laughing at your moral code. You follow the rules, but you lose, and those who disregard the rules get ahead. If this feeling is familiar, you are not alone. You have simply fallen into the trap that ensnares all good people. From childhood, we are taught to play chess, to think, to plan, to respect our opponent. But the real world isn't a game of chess, it's a no-rules bar fight. And time and again, you show up to this fight holding a chessboard. Today, we will discuss a cruel but necessary truth. Your kindness, without the strength to protect it, is not a virtue, it is a weakness. It is an open invitation for the predators of this world to come and take what is yours. And our guide into this dark forest of reality will be a man whose name has become synonymous with evil and cunning. A man despised by all good people, Niccolò Machiavelli. We were told he was a teacher for tyrants, but what if he is actually a teacher for the good person who wants to survive in a world full of tyrants? What if his cynical lessons are not a call to evil, but a manual for self-defense? This is not a lesson on how to become a villain. It is a lesson on understanding the rules of the game so you don't become a victim. To do this, we must first accept the world not as we wish it to be, but as it truly is. And the truth, according to Machiavelli, is brutal. Since childhood, we've been told the same story in fairy tales, Hollywood movies, and Sunday school. It's the story of how good always triumphs over evil. That if you are honest, hardworking, and kind, a reward awaits you in the end. The world is just, and karma will set things right. But Niccolò Machiavelli looks at this beautiful fairy tale and says, this is a direct path to ruin. He was not an idealistic philosopher, but a pragmatist. For 14 years, he served as a diplomat and politician in Florence during an era of intrigue, conspiracy, and war. He saw how real power operated, and he had no illusions. In his masterwork, The Prince, he writes a harsh but honest line: a ruler who wishes to maintain power must learn how not to be good. Why? Because people, Machiavelli says, are by nature ungrateful, fickle, liars, cowards, and greedy. They will swear eternal friendship to you as long as you are useful to them. They will promise you their blood and their life as long as danger is distant. But the moment the winds of change blow or you need their help, they will betray you without blinking an eye. They will forget your kindness faster than you can remind them of it. This doesn't mean all people are monsters. It means that this potential exists in everyone. And in a critical situation, most will choose their own skin over your noble ideals. Here's Machiavelli's main conclusion. A man who wishes to profess goodness at all times will inevitably come to ruin among so many who are not good. If you are playing a game where everyone else is willing to cheat, and you are the only one sitting there with an honest face following the rules, you will lose. You will be devoured. In this context, your kindness is not a virtue, it is naivety. It is a strategic error. Does this mean we should become cynical monsters and burn our moral code? Not at all. Machiavelli doesn't teach us to be evil. He teaches us to be effective. And to do so, he offers us two masks that everyone who wants to survive in this world must wear: the mask of the lion and the mask of the fox. A good person often thinks they have only two paths: either be a sheep, kind, harmless, but always at risk of being eaten, or become a wolf, a cruel, selfish predator. Since they don't want to be a wolf, they resignedly accept the role of a sheep. Machiavelli says, this is a false choice. You have forgotten about two other animals. He writes that a wise ruler, and in our case, a wise person, must learn to combine the nature of a lion and the nature of a fox. What does this mean? The lion is strength. It is power, directness, and the ability to inspire fear. The lion does not shy away from an open fight. Its roar makes wolves scatter. In life, this is your ability to set boundaries, to say no, to punish betrayal, and to not fear conflict when your interests are threatened. But the lion has a weakness. It is too straightforward. It doesn't see traps and snares. It may be strong, but it is easily deceived. The fox is cunning. It is intelligence, insight, and the ability to see hidden motives and avoid traps. The fox does not engage in an open fight if it can be avoided. It understands that a direct attack is not always the best path. It knows when to pretend, when to stay silent, and when to strike from the shadows. But the fox also has a weakness. It cannot defend itself against wolves. If cornered, its cunning will not save it from brute force. Your problem as a good person is that you try to be only a lion, honest but naive, or nothing at all, just a sheep. You despise the cunning of the fox, considering it deceitful and vile. But Machiavelli insists, one must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten off wolves. You must develop both of these sides within yourself. Know how to smile at an enemy while gathering information, the fox, but be ready to fire them without sentiment if they betray you, the lion. Know how to be empathetic and understanding, your kind nature, but see clearly when your empathy is being used against you, the fox. This isn't being two-faced, it's strategic wisdom. It's the ability to adapt to reality. And to see how this deadly combination works in practice, let's look at the man who, for Machiavelli, was the perfect example of such a ruler, one of the most ruthless and effective men of the Renaissance, Cesare Borgia. The story of Cesare Borgia reads like a script from Game of Thrones. He was the son of a pope, a cardinal, and later a ruthless warlord who sought to create a unified state in central Italy, a region torn apart by petty tyrants and mercenary gangs. Machiavelli observed him from a close distance and was impressed, not by his goodness, but by his effectiveness. One of the most telling stories took place in the province of Romagna. The region had descended into total chaos, plagued by robbery, murder, and anarchy. Cesare conquered it, understood that order could not be established by force alone. He needed to break the will of the local barons and accustom the people to law. So what did he do? He appointed a man named Ramiro de Orco as his governor. De Orco was a cruel and decisive man, a true lion. He restored order with an iron fist, executing bandits and imposing harsh laws. In a short time, Romagna became the safest province in Italy. The goal was achieved, right? Yes, but Cesare understood that the people now feared and hated Ramiro de Orco, and this hatred could turn against him. And so, Cesare deployed the cunning of the fox. One morning, the residents of the city of Cesena awoke to a horrific sight in the main square. On the scaffold lay a corpse, cut in two. Beside it was a bloody axe. It was Ramiro de Orco. Cesare Borgia had publicly executed his own governor. With a single stroke, he achieved two goals. First, he showed that he did not approve of such cruelty, shifting all the blame to Ramiro. Second, he instilled even greater fear and awe in the people. If he could do this to his own loyal dog, what would he do to his enemies? Machiavelli wrote, "This brutal spectacle left the people both satisfied and stunned." This sounds monstrous to us, but consider the logic. Cruelty was used not for pleasure, but as a surgical instrument. Cesare sacrificed one man, albeit a cruel one, to bring peace and stability to hundreds of thousands. He used evil in the name of a greater good. This is an extreme example, but it illustrates a key principle. Sometimes, to achieve a good end, one must use methods that seem bad. And this brings us to the most important metaphor. Let's imagine a surgeon. On the operating table lies a patient with a severe illness. To save him, the surgeon must take a sharp scalpel, cut through skin and muscle, and cause incredible pain. He must remove part of an organ. Viewed in isolation, this action is an act of violence. It is the infliction of harm. But what is the surgeon's goal? To save a life, the highest good. A good surgeon is not one whose hand doesn't tremble. A good surgeon is one who is willing to inflict pain for the sake of healing. A bad, kind surgeon is one who would say, "Oh, I can't cut this nice person, it's too cruel." Such a kind surgeon will kill the patient with his kindness. Machiavelli teaches us to be surgeons in our own lives. The world is sick. It is full of selfishness, betrayal, and injustice. Your task as a good person is not to simply stand by with clean hands and say, "Oh, how terrible everything is." Your task is to pick up the scalpel and act. Sometimes, the scalpel will be a difficult, unpleasant conversation with a loved one who is destroying their life. It hurts, but it might save them. Sometimes the scalpel will be firing an inefficient but nice employee who is dragging the whole team down. It's harsh, but it saves the business and the jobs of others. Sometimes the scalpel will be ending a toxic relationship that is draining the life out of you, even if you love the person. Machiavelli forces us to separate intentions from results. You can be a person with the purest intentions, but if you are weak, naive, and ineffective, you will help no one. You will just be another victim on the road. But a person who is willing to use dirty methods, cunning, toughness, calculation, for a noble goal will ultimately bring more good to the world. The result is more important than having clean hands, because with clean hands but no power or influence, you will change nothing. You will only be a powerless observer. And once you accept this uncomfortable truth, you stop being a victim. You become a player. Adopting this Machiavellian perspective is like putting on night vision goggles in a dark room. You suddenly begin to see what was previously hidden. Until now, you were a pawn. You believed in the rules you were given. You thought that if you moved forward and captured diagonally, everything would be fine. But you were constantly knocked off the board by pieces that moved however they pleased. And you thought, this isn't fair. Now you understand there is no fair game. There are only interests. You cease to be a pawn and become a player. What does this change? First, you stop taking everything personally. When you are betrayed or undermined, you no longer think, what's wrong with me? Why don't they like me? You think, what interest was this person pursuing? What did they gain? This shifts the situation from the realm of personal drama to strategic analysis. The pain remains, but it ceases to be paralyzing. Second, you start listening not to what people say, but watching what they do. Machiavelli teaches us that words are a smokescreen. People will talk of honor, friendship, and loyalty, but they will act according to their interests. You begin to analyze actions, not believe in promises. Third, you gain freedom from the need to be nice to everyone. You realize that trying to please everyone is a guarantee that no one will respect you. You give yourself permission to be inconvenient, tough, even intimidating when the situation demands it. You are no longer a victim reacting to events. You are a player who creates events. You no longer hope for the world to be just. You try to create your own small zone of justice using the tools of this unjust world. This is a frightening but liberating transition. And to ensure it doesn't remain just a theory, here are 3 practical rules you can start applying today. The tools of the enlightened cynic. To become a player instead of a pawn, you don't need to weave conspiracies or betray friends. You just need to start using your mind more strategically. Here are 3 tools based on Machiavelli's lessons. Tool 1, the economy of truth. Being a good person doesn't mean being a walking truth teller who blurts out everything you think. Machiavelli teaches that you are not obligated to lie, but you are also not obligated to tell the whole truth to everyone. Truth is a resource. Like any resource, it must be used wisely. Before sharing information about your plans, your weaknesses, your opinion of someone, ask yourself, why does this person need to know this? How might they use this information? Learn the art of strategic silence. Often the most powerful statement is not what you said, but what you left unsaid. Stop sharing your ambitions with envious colleagues. Stop telling your problems to people who might use them against you. Your openness is not always a virtue. Often it is simply naivety. Tool 2, the analysis of interests. Stop believing in altruism at face value. Behind every action, every request, every compliment, look for the hidden interest. When a colleague offers to help you with a project, ask yourself, what do they get out of it? Do they want to stay in the loop to report to the boss? Do they want to claim part of the credit? When a politician promises you a bright future, ask, what do they get? Power? Money? This doesn't make you a paranoid person, it makes you a realist. Understanding other people's interests is the key to predicting their behavior, and it is your best defense against manipulation. Tool 3, be feared if you cannot be loved. This is Machiavelli's most famous and most misunderstood quote. He is not saying you should be a tyrant, he is talking about reliability. Love and affection are fickle feelings. Today you are loved, tomorrow you are not. Relying on them in critical situations is risky. Fear of consequences, however, is a much more reliable basis for respect. In a professional setting, this means people must know that if they let you down, deceive you, or betray you, there will be consequences. Not a tantrum, but cold, calculated consequences. You should be known not only for your kindness, but also for your capacity to be tough. Your reputation should be, he's a great person as long as you play fair, but don't even think about crossing him. These tools are your scalpel. They may seem cynical, but they are what will allow you to preserve your kindness and prevent the world from trampling it. After all this talk of lions, foxes, and ruthless rulers, a legitimate question may arise. Will I not become the very monster I fought against? Will this cynicism not turn me into a cold, heartless manipulator? This is the most important question, and the answer to it defines everything. The purpose of studying Machiavelli is not to learn to enjoy power and intrigue. The purpose is to stop being a victim of naivety. Power for power's sake is the path of a tyrant. But power to protect your values, your family, your work, that is the duty of a good person. True kindness is not the passive non-resistance to evil. It is not a meek smile in response to a blow. It is not the hope that someone else will come and solve the problems. It is an active, intelligent, and yes, sometimes ruthless strategy for creating order in your own small corner of a chaotic world. A surgeon who is afraid of the sight of blood will never save a single life. A good person who is afraid to use power will never protect a single value. They will just stand by, speaking beautifully about morality while the wolves drag away their sheep. Machiavelli does not teach you to be a wolf. He teaches you to be a shepherd, one who knows how wolves think, one who has both a staff to protect and the cunning to outplay the predator. The world will not become a kinder place because you remain weak. Your passivity only clears the way for those who are strong and unprincipled. But the world can become a little better if good people like you finally become strong. If they learn to play this complex game and direct their newfound strength, not toward destruction, but toward defending what is right, what is fair, and what truly matters.